But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Mike, Happy New Year. Welcome back to the show. I see you signed another one-year deal.
I tested free agency. I feel like when we get to 2027, that's when the big money breakout year is going to happen. And also I'll come back to be the starting quarterback for one more year. But when Rogan gets an ACL injury and they need somebody, it's boom, I'm making the buku bucks and leaving you behind, So
you're gambling on yourself this year that you will be as productive.
Yeah, one of these years the gamble will pay off, I think. I mean, we're going on the 50th year of my life this upcoming year, so that's when most lives really hit the stride, and when half a century.
Yeah, usually when you turn 50 and do the same show for 13 years, with minor success, that's usually a good strategy for when you break out.
Yeah, I feel like 13 years in the minors is a perfect amount of time to finally say, I'm ready for the big time.
Well, welcome to year. We started this in 2014, so I believe that makes this year 12 or year 13 or season 13, if you will. How many are on the IMDb? 12?
I believe it's 12.
No, whatever.
13.
You
didn't ask me beforehand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't ask you to prep the number.
I can't take these questions out of the blue.
So, Mike, how was your holiday season? How did the holidays work out for you? Did you get everything you want? Was Santa good to you? Did you ring in the new year?
Yeah. Okay. So, number one, this will be our 13th season. Yep. We marked as 12 earlier on. Santa was good to me. Eventually, I will have a nice chair and desk to do the podcast from. So it takes a little assembly. So come mid-August,
yep,
I will be in my chair and cursing how it's not feeling right, and we'll go from there.
Well, one, call your dad to come put the chair together for you. And two, what do you mean you don't have a chair? I gifted you the greatest of all chairs.
Yeah. The not a chair will eventually get into the rotation, if you will. I did not look up the YouTube on how to properly press in my back muscles for this, but we will eventually do a show with me pure not a chairing.
I can't wait till you put it on wrong and cause massive damage to your back.
Scott, I got scoliosis.
Turns out the Nada chair moved my spine X amount percent, and I paralyzed myself.
Yeah, as much as it says Nada chair, it did a lot than Nada.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of glad, as much as I look forward to the holidays, there's that relief of when it's kind of over. It's a lot of running around. It's a lot of kid stuff for me. It's a lot of figuring out things and putting up decorations. And we're I don't know. Me and my wife are the family that the minute Christmas is over, we kind of start looking around the house and we're like, we can take this stuff down. I think we started taking it down the day after Boxing Day, the 27th. I was like, screw it. Once I started, I just threw the tree out the door.
Is Boxing Day a huge one for the kids? Is that why you leave it up the little extra time?
You guys don't celebrate Boxing Day, dude. You keep laughing. You'll be doing a Boxing Day special, which we're gonna get to shortly. Actually, but yeah, I'm good. The Christmas season was great. Everything was wonderful, but I'm kind of. I felt like personally, even on the show here, it was a mad dash from basically October through December. It felt like we were working on something or creating something or scheduling something or getting interviews in. Now it's okay, another year. We had our little yearly summit that we just started with some goals for the show. So hopefully we're nailing all those goals right now.
I believe we're on Sirius XM, right?
Yeah.
I mean that was my number one thing. I figure we can take out Bennington and slide into that the middle afternoon slot.
No, you said you wanted to get the show on ham radio. That was your goal.
Well, actually, that's a little too lofty. I'm going for CB radio. I just want to be in a truck with a handle and just like speaking into all our trucker friends out there and all, informing them of the po-po as we talk to random guests.
Imagine some poor gentleman driving for 15 hours to deliver heavy machinery. And all of a sudden, your voice comes across his poor radio.
Wow, trucker suicides got tripled this year. Wow.
Yeah. So it was a mad dash, but we are back here. Mike, I saw you had I figured we got to talk about it here because it's not only is our guest kind of related in a small way, well, kind of a big way, to the show, but also it just happened this week. The Stranger Things finale has wrapped up and it is over. And I also figured I want you to tell the audience where you went the other day.
Well, as Scott likes to mock you know what? I'm going to drive for an hour to get coffee. I literally giggled as he texted me. He's like, well, how far are you from Rome, Georgia? And I looked it up. I actually was there once to meet up with our friend on the show, Harry. He was down seeing family during that time frame. And it's like, yeah, it's about an hour. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Because apparently the Creel House is based in Rome, Georgia.
Yep.
And me being me, just on a random Tuesday, I'm like, hey, babe, you want to drive an hour? And we went up there and all. Now, we started with coffee because that's the most important thing of an hour-long trip, getting coffee. But.
Yes. Now, did it take you an hour and a half before you left for the hour drive to get yourself a coffee? Because if you go back about 3 episodes, you can hear Mike's hour-long coffee debacle.
No, I found one directly in Rome.
Okay.
And it was like a legitimate, not in a gated community where I'm like, gosh darn it, and have to figure out something else. But it was a direct coffee shop.
Wow.
Got her sips in. We went to a music store that the wife wanted to go to. And then we found the Creel House. And of course, it's in an intersection where you can't just like peel off. And somebody was up my rear end with their truck, so there was a lot of turning around and spinning, but eventually, I got my picks in front of the Creel House.
Now, so let me preface that. I was watching, just scrolling through my phone, and some video popped up about the Creel House, and I found it. Now, for those of you who have no clue what we're talking about, I'm sorry, it's a Stranger Things. That's what we're going to talk about right now. So this, if you don't watch the episode, this little segment might be a little boring for you. But
spoilers.
Yeah, that's I wanted to preface. Loads of spoilers coming. So if you did not watch the episode and you are about to watch the finale, turn us off and then turn us back on after the show.
Maybe put us on during the episode. So that'd be wonderful. No, like all those seasoned actors doing their best. Just like, no, I want to hear these two idiots talk about this episode.
I want to hear Mike talk about the truck in his rear end again. But I saw the Creel House, which is a really cool piece of architecture, like just the house. But I found it very cool that they actually used the inside of the house, because a lot of these times they just find an exterior that looks really cool, and then they build the rest in a set or on a lot. But it looked like, from the video anyway, it looked like they were actually like going through the house and showing you like, well, this is blah blah blah's room, and this is where we filmed the dining room scene. So it's pretty cool. So that's when I text you like, hey, did you how far is that? Because if I was down there, like if we were down there, I'd take a ride to go see it. It'd probably be better than the arcade that we saw.
I was about to say, I showed you 3 places in my hometown. Now, granted, I chose to make you walk about a mile and a half to get there and be like, oh, yeah, I probably should have brought the car. But
yeah, I'm down in Georgia. I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to see some Stranger Things stuff because I'm here. And Mike, I was like, yeah, we'll go see where the arcade was. I'm like, cool, why not? It was like 95 degrees that day. Mike Park, there's nobody around. like it's not in like a town center, like where there's like bars and restaurants and people. It's kind of like a side road. Mike
Pretty much.
parks, and we just kind of like waddle our way up this hill. I'm starting to get sweaty because I sweat instantly, and I'm like, wonder where the arcade is.
And I bet somewhat you were thinking, we'll go into the arcade, maybe play some Frogger or something like that.
I thought maybe it was a store with some like pictures from the production or something. No, just some abandoned laundromat looking building. And then Mike's like, yeah, maybe we should have just drove right up to it. But how was the Creel House? Where people, is there anybody else there checking it out?
Yeah, it was a constant, just like constant people going up to it and all doing the selfies and all trying to do some form of, you act like a Demogorgon. Oh, you act like you're Hopper or something to that effect. Yeah. It was definitely just a bunch of people enjoying themselves because this was the day before the finale.
Exactly.
That it went up there. So, yeah, everybody's like Googling stuff and they happen to be in Georgia. So,
yeah. So let's get into it. Let's get into the finale here a little bit, or the last couple episodes, or whatever you want to. Even the last season, really. I've been watching the show since the beginning. I remember a cousin telling me on vacation like 10 years ago or whatever, like, "Oh, check it out. I think you'll like it." And, I did like it. I kind of followed it all along, and I thought it was always interesting. It is hard to believe that it's been 10 years that they've been doing the show, because they've had such big gaps in between seasons, and each season you forget that these kids are like smack in the middle of puberty. So they are growing quick in each season. Like, you're like, oh boy, like now they're like 20 something years old and still playing the teenage role.
Like, you got to give Netflix, I mean, I'm not sure if they did this on purpose or not, but if you think about it, they made a show that you can't wait for the next season. They make you wait 2 years. And when you know it's coming up, you literally say to yourself, oh, crap, what the heck happened in the last season? So you go back and you speed run through everything so they double the numbers in some way.
I thought you were going to say you got to give Netflix credit for casting kids that didn't grow up that much, that still kind of look young, even though they're in like their 20s.
I mean,
the old Netflix credit. Puberty blockers worked.
Yeah, they have syringes that they stick into their spines to make sure like it doesn't go up. I mean, they purposely got Dusty, who doesn't have a collarbone. They're like, well, he's not going to get broad shoulders because of this, so that's a plus.
I thought you told me that Netflix caused the disease in Dustin on purpose.
Yeah, I mean that. Wait till you get the behind the scenes story. That comes out 3 years from now before their spin-off show happens in 5 years from now.
Yeah. So like, it's amazing. Like it's one of the few shows that got culturally as big as your Breaking Bad, your Sopranos, your Game of Thrones, where the leading up to this season, I felt like pretty much everyone I talked to was now in on the show and ready to see the finale. Kind of, we don't see those cultural shows that often. I feel like every 5 years or so there's like one show that everyone's tuning into. Like, remember when The Walking Dead everyone tuned into, and then literally nobody even knows if it's still on anymore.
They still got offshoots apparently. They're like bringing back Rick and who's the biker one? Daryl, yeah.
Don't they just keep bringing Daryl back? Like, how is that guy still
That's
alive?
half the fun of it. You're like, oh, they're still alive, and they're like, yep, and we're bringing them back. And it's like, wait a minute, didn't you send Daryl to Europe somehow? like they're just his spinoff series was literally him waking up, and it's like, oh, I'm in Paris. And it's like, no, there's nothing around.
Now, it would be great if he was sent off not into post-apocalyptic Europe, like he just has like on European vacation. Like,
just
it didn't hit over there yet.
French people figuring he's got to survive, and they never had the virus.
Yeah. that show was like, put it this way, as long as we've been doing the podcast, when that show came out, it was we would talk about it like must watch, Sunday night, Walking Dead, and I couldn't tell you the last time I even thought about the show other than probably us talking about it here. So
exactly.
Kudos to Stranger Things. Stranger Things has kept the imagination going. It's like as as big as it can possibly get. I think I don't think a show can get any bigger than that. Now, season 5 started, I don't know, a couple weeks ago.
Thanksgiving,
yeah. First 4 episodes I thought were phenomenal. I thought it had the payoff. It had the Will becoming the sorcerer. It basically packed everything that you wanted in those first 4 episodes.
Yeah, I gotta agree. They did wonderful work, just continuing with the character development. They kept the story going. They had a new story, and it didn't seem like a recycle of it. They were getting to they were doing all the steps to get to the end while not just saying, well, we got to get to the end. Don't worry about anything else.
Yeah. And like one of my thoughts initially was, I forget the guy's name who plays Vecna and Henry.
Yeah.
To me, he was like the shining star of the show. Like, it just seemed that they gave him more and more airtime to just develop this character. And he really, I mean, that's a guy that coming out of this show, I'm kind of interested to see what he does next. Cause like, he seems like the kind of guy who could play any kind of creepy role. Very, very unique. To me, he was the one who shined through right from the beginning of the season.
Jamie Campbell Bower is the actor who plays. Yeah, he had range. They had good writing for him. He wasn't one-dimensional. As we went to the second part, they added some more layers to not be like, oh, he's just pure evil. It's like, no, this is why he is the way he is. I think his reveal, even, like, I didn't see it coming. Like, in hindsight, you're like, well, of course he would end up being the bad guy in all this, but I think he did play such a good role, just being like a calm demeanor human being in the hospital, that once they did the reveal, it's like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
And he just went with it with his character.
And then even in this season, we see the full range of kind of his acting, like as they got into the finale and they explained his backstory even more and what he was afraid of. And we see crying Vecna, angry Vecna, like calm, cool, collected, like suspicious Vecna. He really kind of covered all the range of that character. So kudos to him. Now, the second 3 episodes came out on Christmas, right? Yeah. Now, this is where I thought the interneted. Okay. I thought they were good. I watched them. I was into them as I was the first 4 or whatever it was, and they were building a little story, building towards the end, and then the Will Byers thing comes, which is half the reason I think the internet just tried to listen. The character, we've known he's gay. They've been hinting at he's gay for a couple seasons now. They made it part of this big reveal towards the end, which I had no problem. I thought it was a pretty touching scene. When you break it down, it makes sense because Vecna's really, like, his main control is in your mind, so he didn't want to be afraid. And, America just lost their minds complaining about Will just being like, I'm gay, as the world is ending.
Yeah, I will say it's kind of weird because they pretty much spelled it out the previous season. But I guess as long as you don't use the word or the sentence, I am gay, it's like, we're fine. Don't you dare say it out loud. The second you do that, now we got a problem with everything that's occurring right there.
Yeah, like watching the bots and the just say, like, the super right wing people I know online, like, just going nuts over this gay. Like, why you gotta make it gay? Why everything? I'm like, is it really? Was it that big of a deal? And like, there was a point to it. The point was him to no longer be afraid. He was afraid of losing his friends. Ultimately, this is a show that is about the friendship of those 4 kids, plus like the others. It's supposed to be like kind of those 80s themes of friendship and adventure. Everyone seems to kind of forgotten that kind of like happiness that's supposed to be in the show.
I mean, monster that kidnaps kids to try to take over the world. That cool.
Yep.
Perfect character. No gay kid coming out. No, kids can't handle that. No. What am I going to tell my children when they stream this, even though I could probably change the password where they couldn't watch this?
Yeah. And I heard not one complaint about Robin, Ethan Hawke's daughter, playing a gay woman the entire
that's hot.
the entire last couple seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. The point is we are pro-gay, provided we could get onto our special accounts and watch it. Now that stuff we don't want to watch, though a lot of them do, that we got to shun that. If we got to be extra secret about watching that gay stuff, then we have a problem. We're all like, yo, two girls kiss, high five, all the more merrier.
And I'm calling BS on everyone who's so offended by it, because I don't think it would have mattered, because everyone was like, oh, the timing of it. They're about to go save the world. He comes out. I'm like, I think the same reaction would have happened if it was in the first minute of the season, if it was smack in the middle of the second episode, the end of the third. I think anywhere this audience in particular that hates everything gay or whatever was going to complain. And I also think we saw the bot farms online really, oh, this is the worst episode of Stranger Things. I'm like, really? Like, even if you didn't think it was amazing, like it was still putting the story forward, leading to the finale.
Yeah. I mean, right off, like the middle ones, I like in talking to you, I wasn't anti it, but I had some issues. I think they could have, some of the stuff that came out, I feel could have came in earlier, or something of that effect, where I probably, if we didn't have the 3-way breakup, if they just like put all the episodes out once, I probably would have had less a problem. I guess my biggest thing was, it's like, all right, we didn't really change or put more kind of consequences to the finale with these episodes, would be more my point. If you're going to say this is this section, when it's like a little extra character development and a little less action, I don't feel it's like this is the lead up to going to the end. Like if Stranger Things didn't have the juice, the momentum that it had, where we all knew New Year's Eve, we're all getting on our Netflix account and trying to beat everybody before the servers crash to watch this, I don't think those episodes would have pushed somebody who might have been on the fence to go do it that night, would be more my point.
I had no problem, but it's also, I think my main point is the way people were acting. This is the worst. I'm like, was it that bad?
Yeah.
Like, to get online and start bombarding every like video and comment, and they said they went and like ratings bombed it on like Rotten Tomatoes and all that, and like it's just so pathetic. Where this is the problem when things become too big, because we can never have a accepted thing among people being like, that was good. That was a great, it has to be, I want to hate it, I want to crush it. It, like, I don't think any shows are ever going to be immune from that ever again.
No, because as you brought up with timing, he comes out in the next to last episode, so then everybody would be screaming, oh, it wrapped up so perfectly, you had to come out and be gay, what's up with that? It, as you talk about, like, oh, they brought down the numbers. If you look at all the season, it's like, oh, it's the worst season ranked all time. And it's like, it's 93%. There's 7%, but every other season is like 98, 96, 95, 97. It's like, it didn't drop off to a 12.
Dude, it just exposes how cruel people are online too. I saw things like people making fun of like Millie Bobby Brown's face and like, oh, did she get lip fillers? And I'm like, we're posting this online. She's 21 years old. What are we doing? Yeah. Like, we remember her when she was an 11-year-old girl. And this is what like grown men and women are posting about. And this is why like the paparazzi and things like that are literally like the devil, because we're turning the general public into the paparazzi now. It's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, what ruined it for me was the one kid was fat. That chubby kid.
Oh, he was great.
Well, no, he could have lost weight, and that took me out of the situation. I'm like, there were no fat kids in the
Talk
80s.
About what an addition to the show. Dipshit Derek. Absolutely. I love that they're able to add a character in the final season that's still like exciting and fun, and like well done to the Russo brothers for that one. Let's get to the finale. I watched it New Year's Eve. It was we were gonna go out to a friend's house and get Chinese food. My son fell asleep, We were going to come back anyway and watch it. My son fell asleep at 5:30. My wife and daughter fell asleep at like 8:45. I'm like, well, this is my New Year's. Like, I'm watching Stranger Things by myself. At no point was I disinterested in the finale. I loved the full circle storytelling. They took every single character, wrapped them up in a bow, gave you an ending, gave you one possible alternate ending, which I thought was an interesting touch because is 11 dead? Maybe not. Do you believe? And my favorite thing is like the complaints from people is like, not enough people died. I'm like, when did that become the marker for what does everyone? We are so violent now. Like they just want like the kid characters to die. Like it's supposed to be an 80s movie. Do you remember the Goonies and E.T. and the Ghostbusters? Do you remember them slaughtering Peter Venkman? And no one died. No one died in the Goonies. Mm-hmm. And we all love those movies. And that was kind of the charm of it. They wrap it up in a bow. The kids come play D&D one more time. Was there little tiny complaints and nitpicks? Sure. But I didn't write the show. I'm watching someone else's creation. I liked the ending. I'd give it like a 8.5 out of 10. Wrapped it up. I was satisfied. The battle was awesome. People are like, it wasn't long enough. Maybe so. But there's a lot of storytelling they had to do. And they did it.
Yeah. I would start off with number one as you talk about nobody dying. It's kind of funny because my wife is the type that every movie when somebody dies, she starts crying. She's like, why do they have to die? And I'm like, it's the end of their story. It's their way of doing this. Like she still talks about Darth Vader shouldn't die. I'm like, what? Who would have been affected by that ending if Darth Vader's like, you know what? I'm feeling good. Let's go, son. I
also like
make a mom and pop shop.
I like that you have to talk to your wife 50 years later about Darth Vader dying. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to that, so when we both watched it, we both enjoyed it. She's like, well, I know you prefer when everybody dies. And the thing, I'm like, no, I don't prefer if everybody dies. Well, I want a good non-real life. Stop it.
Yeah. Evidence on this show would suggest otherwise that bodies just follow you around.
But my point was more, they did such a good story that you didn't have to say, man, they should have had consequences there. I applaud them because as they defeated Vecna, I'm curious where we're at, and I pause it. I'm like, oh, we got 40 some odd minutes there. And
it did the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm getting a little worried. I'm like, all right, they're going to start having their lives, and like Vecna's going to jump scare out of nowhere and just kind of ruin the mood right there. Ryan was so perfect that they could make a finale to that.
Yep.
Keep continuing the story and be satisfied at the end. I mean, even as I talk about who's the girl, Ethan Hawke's daughter? I forget her first.
Robin, yeah.
Robin, like she's getting a spinoff, even just like the simple them sitting on a roof, chatting, talking about, every year we'll meet up at my uncle's. And I'm like, that's such a nice little subtle way of prepping the spin-off without making it so obvious or anything like that. Everything came together so perfectly, and I almost teared up a little bit when like they put away their D&D books, they're going upstairs, and all the young kids are storming down to the basement and they're starting their game. I'm like, that's just beautiful writing there. It's something I would have thought they would have brought all the kids back, but it's just like a great full circle moment right there.
They gave you chapter 1 ending the Vecna story in a pretty badass way. Like, yeah, there wasn't any Demogorgons. That was kind of a little weird and whatnot. But when I rewatched it with my wife, because she wanted to watch it the next day, Dustin does say something like, I thought there would be like Demogorgons and stuff here on the planet. He does mention something, so there must be a reason for that. But whatever, like that's a minor detail. The fight was awesome. So they gave you all of chapter 1. I mean, Winona Ryder's character chopping off his head was a pretty fantastic ending to him. I didn't see it coming at all. In fact, one time I did have a thought. I'm like, why is she on the planet? She's kind of old and like just carrying an axe around. And I'm like, oh, that's why she's there.
She spent like 4 seasons crying, don't go, don't go, no. And in the end, she just like F it and just chops off his head. And perfect.
And then they give you a 50-minute ramp up of all the major characters. Literally, even like Nancy and Mike's dad. You were like, where is he? Oh, he's alive in the graduation scene. The mom is recovered. The minor characters, the teacher, all of them have their moment. They call back to Eddie when Dustin graduates. They wrap up. They give you what happens to Hopper and Joyce. You find out they get married. Nice happy ending. You find the 4 kids, the older kids, and then they give you a wrap. They wrapped up every character, whether you like it or not. It was happy. They left a little open-ended. They gave you a little surprise at the end. Them putting away their childhoods, going off to their own life. It ending in a game of D&D. To me, it was, like I said, it was poetic. It is up there for me in some of the, finales of TV shows that actually wrap things up. And they didn't leave that much open for you to debate. They said, here's the ending. It wasn't The Sopranos when it turns black. It was an ending. It was Breaking Bad. Here's an ending. You cannot like it, but we gave you an ending. We did our job.
Yeah, I would probably put this somewhere in my like top 5 finales. It's not number 1. That is either Breaking Bad or Cheers, I would say, is my number 1.
Yep.
I flip back and forth on that, but everything came in a bow. Nothing where you're like, you forgot this character, you forgot this.
I saw people complaining that Robin's girlfriend didn't get a wrap up. I'm like, she's been around for like a season. They put her in the episode. She mentions her at the end. What did you want? Like another 10-minute segment just on her? Like,
well, again, we go back to the girl kissing. We needed more of that. Not the boys wanting to do stuff with each other. The girl stuff that's the stuff we approve.
Not to mention, there's like 50 characters that they addressed. Like, there's a lot of that ensemble is huge.
Scott, I was very upset that they didn't wrap up the story of that surfer pizza guy from last season.
Yeah.
Why didn't he show up and be like, guys, I'm an insurance salesman now, or something to that effect?
Yeah. Let's just add another 2 hours to the episode. But what masterful way to at least address an ending to everyone. We go back to The Walking Dead, as I was saying. The reason that show completely lost me, at least, was when they started focusing on characters that didn't matter, giving them full episodes, forgetting the storylines of the main characters, and them just never going anywhere. Like, the things just never, and then having an episode where someone would get killed off, and I'd be like, I don't remember what that guy did. Like, we got the ending.
Background person number 2, no!
It had the 80s feel to it. It had a happy ending for once. It wasn't all violence. Oh, like, would it have been better if they killed, like, Dustin or something? Is that what people wanted? Or, like, it just seems cruel. Like, almost like, why do we want them to die? Like, the kids' part would be totally different.
Yeah, even the part where the one guy was, like, hanging on by a thread and it looked like he was going to be the first death and he got saved. At no point I'm like, no, let him go. That made the show better.
I think it's actually a breath of fresh air that they didn't just randomly kill people like Game of Thrones where everyone died. It was actually nice to see a show where it wasn't just like the death was the main focal point of the episode. So
I think what they should do, like 3 years from now, they go, oh, secret actual ending, and the new kids are playing D&D. They're just playing, and all of a sudden a Demogorgon just eats them all. Like, that's the whole episode. For like 20 minutes, we're uncomfortably watching children being eaten alive by a Demogorgon. Like, they keep on trying to get out the door, but they can't, and then, like, the Demogorgon grabs the next person and starts chewing on them for 5 minutes straight.
Yeah. I mean, and there is a sadness for me because I'm not like into that many shows right now. It takes me a while to like commit to a show. And I know there's a million great ones. And I know people tell me to watch this. And I always just naturally put it off and like put on like Always Sunny and Seinfeld and something I'd watched 400 times. So there is a little sadness like, oh, that was something I could talk about with my friends and my neighbors. And we all watched it and there was something to talk about. Now I'm like, I don't really know. But we did, my wife and I did say to each other like maybe like a month ago that instead of birthday presents, we do want to go see the play on Broadway. So now I'm sure tickets are probably way jacked up, but we were going to like not get each other anything and just go to that. So maybe I'll have something to report on in the future. It's supposedly fantastic, but to me,
but I do understand
bravo,
it.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, but I do understand it takes people a while to get into shows. That's why we keep doing this one. I'm like, all right, been here for 13 years. I think eventually somebody's like, you know what? Let me start with episode 1.
You know what we got to do? We got to kill you off.
I'm too loved. That's like when they killed off. Well, they don't really kill off anybody on Walking Dead, and no one's. And then they screw up, and then the kid dies, and they're like, "Oh, you're leaving the show too? Oh, crap!"
Yeah. But anyway, enough Walking Dead. Bravo, Stranger Things. I'll probably rewatch the series at some point. Oh, last thought on that. The one thing that I found really striking towards the end was the flashbacks. You really forget how little those kids were in season 1. Like it almost like took me back because I rewatched like season 3 and 4 kind of like on the treadmill, catching up to either season 5. I didn't go all the way back to 1. I mean, they are like babies when you see their faces.
I think it started pre-COVID, right? So I mean, we haven't been in COVID in 4 years, so that's just proof right there. It's that when you cast kids, you might want to get your seasons in line, you know.
Yeah, you've been trying to cast kids for years here, but
yeah, well, the cast's been watching me a little. I mean, I try to. I'm telling them like, yo, I'm this Georgian Vecna. It's cool, but they don't listen to me.
Well, how our guest really does tie into this conversation really well because his song has become, it's gotten a rebirth, okay, through Stranger Things. I see videos with Never Ending Story constantly playing under Stranger Things and kids singing it and whatnot. And he is the writer of that song. Okay. He's been on our podcast before. You might remember him from Kajagoogoo. You might know his Christmas song he recently put out. You might know Never Ending Story. And that is Limahl. So without further ado, here is Limahl for the second time.
Ooh.
Hello.
Limahl, what is up? How are you?
Can you hear and see me, guys?
I can hear you. Good to see you.
I'm so sorry I'm late. I literally rushed home from the gym.
Oh, you're good. You know, this is not late. We've had guests hours late, so no worries. It's funny because 5 years ago, almost to the day, you were on the show. You were in that seat. And I remember your really nice blue Christmas tree behind you, and you had just released your Christmas song that year. We had you on when you were promoting that. So, welcome back. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thanks for giving us a few minutes here.
Well, thank you for the reminder. I feel bad that the blue Christmas tree is not there yet.
I mean, that's a new TV, it looks like. So, I mean, we're gazing at that.
No, look, I've got something else, though, that is going to be going by the tree. So, look at this cute guy.
All right. You got a nutcracker. You're on your way.
A little nutcracker there. So, what happened was, I probably would have put the tree up last night, actually, but I went to a venue in London that I have never been to, and I've lived here 50 years. Can you imagine that?
Okay. Where'd you go?
So I went to the Royal Opera House to see the Nutcracker Ballet.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, the costumes and the venue and the music. So Tchaikovsky, written around 1891, based on a story from about 1830, 1826, something like that. Fascinating stuff. In the interval, I was on ChatGPT saying, I better look up the story because in ballet, there's no dialogue, and there's a lot of gestures. It's almost like a silent movie,
right?
But in color.
Yep. Well, that's actually a good question. In all your years in music, you know, your music's been on a bunch of shows and things like that, and you've done a ton of different stuff. Have you ever done music for theater or for plays or anything like that?
Not yet.
Nope.
But, you know, my music's been used all over the place. Did you see Jimmy Fallon was lip syncing Never Ending Story on his Tonight Show this week?
I was going to bring that up because I was going to say it's interesting time to catch you now too, because the Stranger Things final season just came out, and I, you know, like a fan, I went back and kind of caught up again. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this whole scene, you know, the Never Ending Story scene with Dustin. And then I'm like, I have Limahl scheduled for next week. So everything's really kind of coming together here.
What I'd really like is Jimmy Fallon to invite me on his show to perform One Wish for Christmas. Okay. So I need a third hit. I mean, I'm known for Too Shy with Kajagoogoo and Never Ending Story. And I need the triple, guys.
Well, don't worry. After this podcast, you'll be getting calls nonstop.
Yeah, Jimmy contacts us constantly after we put out a show, so I know we got the in right now.
But you know what? This is why it's kind of, I never imagined that, you know, when we put the Christmas song track project together, I'd given myself this sort of task for the rest of my life in December, because even if this song crossed into the mainstream and got picked up somehow, even as a cover version, I would probably still, even if, you know, I would still be out there promoting it, talking about it in December, or perhaps even performing it. Well, actually, that's not such a bad thing, you know, because I think we all feel when Christmas is coming, you know, we just hit December, and it's like, oh, it's something to look forward to, isn't it? And there's the planning and the thinking about gifts and food and family and who to avoid.
As you brought up, like your hit songs, I know Too Shy, the old band, Nick is performing Too Shy, and you're like very happy to hear it out. I'm kind of curious, emotionally, do you get more excitement to go, okay, I love that song and the song is still living? Or do you ever get the angst of, second they start singing it, people are pinging me and trying to get the whole dirt on, oh, you mad? Does this suck? Does this mean you're coming back? Does that kind of drive you in any way? Or is it all just, no, I'm just glad to hear it again?
There's a lot of things to cover in that question. First of all, my first thought was, finally, Nick is embracing Too Shy, because for years he would kind of diss Kajagoogoo as a project that was not that important. He was very flippant about it. That used to make me angry. It seems like he's gone full circle and now he embraces it a little. The fact that he's performing it doesn't bother me in the slightest, because it's rightfully his song as much as it is mine. His beautiful bass caresses that song. And I've seen countless bass players on YouTube trying to copy, what is that bass line? You know, because that's Nick. He's so out there with his thought process. I think that let me see, what else do I want to say about it? I think it's generally good, and I think it helps keep the song out there. That's not a bad thing. You know, every year or two it turns up in a project somewhere in the world. You know, Never Ending Story has been used in the Swedish National Lottery, and in the UK, Too Shy was using a TV advert for what the Americans call potato chips. We call them crisps. So it's all good. I don't think a week goes by on social media where people don't ask, is there any chance of a Kajagoogoo reunion? And I like to quote a writer friend of mine, Barney Ashton, who said to me, he's a very smart guy, very intuitive, and he said, look, when you go on stage, you have a duty to your audience to leave all the shit in the wings and get out there and honor the legacy that's important to the people who bought the records, walked to a shop and paid for that vinyl and came to the concerts or bought a t-shirt or whatever it was. And that's really where I stand on it. So if would there be a reunion? That's the sort of thought process that would drive me.
Mhm.
What is that process like, as far as like, okay, like you said, someone in Sweden is going to use a song, like, do you get a call out of the blue? Does your agent say, hey, I got a lead on something, or is it mostly just a complete random inquiry and you're like, oh, okay, or maybe, or absolutely not?
Okay. So, advice to all young musicians out there.
Oh,
It depends on the contract that you
Right.
sign with
Mhm.
and you won't have much say in the matter if it's a conglomerate, because they've
Yep.
got all the
Right.
they've got all the power.
Mhm.
If you start getting funny with them, they'll just kind of look at you with a raised eyebrow as if to say, do you really want this deal, or would you like to be to stay being a nobody with no one listening to your music? So what happens is, if there is a cover version and it's more or less a straight cover, no permission is required, depending on the contract that you signed. In our contract, if somebody wants to use it, they go ahead. If they're going to start playing around with it, editing it, remixing it, switching it around, then we get an email from Warner Music. Originally, it was EMI Records. They were swallowed up by Warner. And there's two very big conglomerates involved here. So you've got Warner Music, who own the master recording copyright of Too Shy, for example, and then you've got Sony Music Publishing, another giant. So that's how it works. I think there was a cover version about a year ago, and there've been about two or three, but they never broke through. I think one guy was like rapping over it, doing something with it. It was kind of a sample thing, and you guys know it's the forces out there that can influence it one way or the other, and it's not always about what's in the groove.
Sure.
Now, I know you're working on a new album coming out either next year or the year after. You kind of brought up in a different interview how it went from 40 independent record companies to like 3 or 4 conglomerates. With your history and having hit songs, was that the factor in why you said, I'm going to just self-produce this and put it out myself? Or was there anything, did you attempt to go through the other channels that you used to work with?
Are you talking about the Christmas track?
I for what I read up, you're working on like possibly an album for 26, 27, for what I read in some interviews. And you said you were going to self-put it out versus going through conglomerates.
So here's the deal. I was actually in communication at a very good level with Warner Music, the recording side, when they were putting a 40th anniversary album out of my first solo album that contained Never Ending Story a couple of years ago. And I dropped a couple of my tracks to them and said, do you want to do something more? Never got a reply to my email. So I left it at that. I don't know if they're interested. If my tracks, I think this is the way they work now. I mean, the old days, it was a case of, if you were a band, you would tour the colleges, you would build up a fan base, you would maybe have a fan club, and it wouldn't be an email, of course, it would be a newsletter in the post. And if there's enough fans at your gigs and there's a bit of a noise going on and they like the music, they might consider signing you. Or there's the other route, of course, where you get a really great introduction to somebody in the record company. Nowadays, so I sent this Christmas track of mine to Sony Music, who published Too Shy. I've got a good in there. And basically, they came back and said, we don't feel, I've got the email somewhere, it hasn't hit their criteria for the numbers on social media, blah, blah, blah. So I replied, what happened to, I bring you a great track, and you go, wow.
Nope.
And you promote it, and I promote it, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So it's almost like the music has become superfluous to streaming numbers or social media numbers. It's a bit scary, really. So I'm old school, and I find it all quite alarming. But I am now enjoying this kind of independence that I've got. And there's a weird side of me, guys, that says at my age, 67 this month, would I really want those hectic schedules again if a conglomerate came knocking? Well, the position I'm in at the moment, I do a few gigs, I do some recording, and it's quite nice, but I still have time to lead a normal life, go to the gym, go shopping, see friends. I've been twice, well, more than twice. I've been in that really kind of crazy, hectic schedule thing. And it's, you get away with it in your 20s. In fact, you find it exciting, but now I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. I guess if Jimmy Fallon calls, then
I'm on it. Okay.
And the schedule changes, then yeah, who am I to say no?
So, you came up in an era that wasn't as accepting, it wasn't as progressive towards LGBT people, whatnot. I'm curious, if you were to come up now or look at a gay musician now, what are some of the same challenges they still face that you faced, and what are some wonderful things that have happened over the last 40 years to kind of progress that?
I think the battle will never go away.
Yeah.
I always like to quote the brilliant movie, The Imitation Game, with Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays the mathematician Alan Turing, who in World War II, I think, don't quote me, brought he cracked the Enigma code, and he brought the war, they say, to an early conclusion, saving millions of lives. Gay people or bisexual people or whatever can make an incredible contribution to society. Yes, we have very high-profile gay musicians. We've got Elton John and George Michael and gay actors and gay designers. Gay people.
I've never heard of a gay
people are great. Gay people are great. What about gay hairdressers? There's none of those.
No.
I think it will always be a battle, a sort of battle. But I think there's a really. I think it's. I don't like ramming things. I don't think it's ever good to ram things down people's throats, whether it's gay or whether you're a particular religious believer or you're vegetarian or whatever it is. I think just set a good example and let people make up their own minds. I've never felt like a political activist. I came into music because I was just a music nut at school.
Well, if anything, you've been with your partner for about 3 decades almost. Is that correct?
Yeah.
If anything, us straight people got to get some notes from you guys and all, because you look at the divorce numbers of straight couples and all, it ain't looking good and all. The gay men numbers are really low. And out of curiosity, is there, for lack of a better term, a secret you feel in relationships that it's like, this is why it works with us and it kind of gets hindered on the other side, for lack of a better term?
I would hate to be so smug as to, I mean, certainly, I think, you can put my two brothers, by the way, in those divorce statistics. I like to poke fun at them a little bit. No, it's just, I just think it's luck, really. I think timing, you know, in my 20s, I met a couple of people. I think I was always looking for love, you know. So, hence the songs, all the love songs in all the world. That might have something to do with the fact that being different at school, I was bullied. I didn't particularly get on great with my dad. Maybe that's because he saw something in me he didn't like. So I was seeking sort of male approval, I felt, for a long time. And one day I kind of got this, I did have girlfriends, and I enjoyed, you know, that, those experiences. But one day I got this kind of infatuation thing. I had a certain experience, or I mean, I would have never said the word love, but this feeling that caught me by surprise at 16 years old was in the region of the heart. It was right there. And it was so poignant that I remember thinking, oh my God, I think I'm one of those that they all say is bad. You know, because there were no positive role models in 1970, would be about 74. Yeah. So, does that answer the question? Because sometimes I do go off on a off piece.
More importantly, in every relationship I've ever been with, there's always someone who's hot and always someone who's cold as far as the temperature. Which one is it for you and your partner? Are you guys both on the same temperature in the house?
We are really soulmates. And we are really soulmates. We're just like, you know, we'll still hold hands watching TV.
Yep.
There's a kiss in the morning. If I'm up first, I make the tea, or vice versa.
And you both like the house at the same temperature.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
With us, it's lighting. With us, it's lighting. And that's very interesting. Yes. People are very different depending on their DNA. So I can come down in the morning if he's got up before me, and he's just sat there in the dark. And I always go, it's completely dark in here. And because I like the light to wake me up. So we have this thing about light, you know. Heating. No, we're roughly the same on the heating. On the
Now I'm jealous because it's a constant battle in my house with me and my wife. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I'm always sweating. So she's always freezing. It's a tough agreement we have to come on to.
Yeah. Just tell her to put more clothes on. That's
what I do, or I just slide over to the heat and hit it every time. She's, you know,
No, it's crazy. All the little idiosyncrasies of relationships are fascinating, aren't they?
So you mentioned you're 67 years old. You look amazing. You're still making music. Like, have you noticed a different commitment you need to make to either your body, your voice, your daily routine and whatnot to be able to still deliver? You know, the way you sing, the register you sing, to still be effective in that, or has it changed a lot?
Well, being on stage kind of for the last 30 years, and certainly in the spotlight for the last 40 plus. Yeah. You know, I've always had that pressure. You sometimes hear women saying, oh, I'm dieting for the summer, for a wedding, for an event. I've always had that. You know, it's quite nerve-wracking to go on stage and, you know, that all eyes on you, scrutinizing you, filming you now. Everybody wants a selfie. I wish I didn't. Sometimes I wish I didn't care, but I do.
Yep.
And so I've always kind of done a certain amount of maintenance, as it were. And now my maintenance is even probably more intense because it has to be at my age. As I said at the beginning of the interview, I've just come from Pilates,
right?
Which I'm loving, by the way.
A lot of people swear by that.
Yes. So my physiotherapist says that in older years, to help to have good health, you need flexibility, stamina, and strength. And so I combine it with a little bit of weights in the gym, not massively heavy, because I couldn't do that anyway. Then there's nutrition, and then there's obviously sleep, and is your life stressful? So all of these things count. Did I say nutrition? Yes. So I think the maintenance is there's a lot, but I have 4 shows next year. I have one in the UK in January, and then I'm in Iceland, which was postponed from last year for some reason, in May. In June, I'm in Vienna, which I'm really looking forward to, because the last 2 times I went to Vienna in Austria, it was January and it was freezing. Although if it snows, it can be romantic. But I'm not a big fan of the cold. And July, I'm in a place called Tenerife, one of the Spanish islands. Nice. So yeah, I think I'll give up when things are not working. If the brain isn't working, or but I'm so lucky because I don't do anything special, particularly for my voice. I've not abused it for about 25 years. When I say abuse, I was smoking cigarettes and drinking a lot of alcohol, as you do when you're young.
Yep.
Drugs never really, they certainly were around. But I remember the first time I tried pot, and I got really sleepy, and I just thought, well, what's the point of, I like being awake, So that never appealed. It's funnily enough, I told someone this story this week. This is no lie. I was at an Elton John party at the Ritz in Paris. I was 24. He'd been playing concerts there for a week, and I just knew somebody who was in his circle. So I got invited to this party. I was in Paris myself. And the champagne was flowing. It was very intimate. There were about 35 people. It felt very special. Someone came by with what I thought was a sugar bowl.
I know where this is going.
Full of sugar. And then I heard the word cocaine. And conversation, chit-chat. Eventually, someone comes to me in a very casual way and says, "Would you like a line, dear?" You see?
Yep.
And not wanting to appear uncool, and I'm hip and down with the kids, I said, okay. So I was taken off to the bathroom, and they rolled up a £10 note or whatever it was, chopped it out with a gold credit card, and I sniffed this line of cocaine, thinking, what have I done? What's going to happen? Half an hour later, no effect whatsoever. Really? And I remember thinking, what was all the fuss about?
Yeah.
And in a way, that did me a favor, because I didn't have.
Sure.
There was plenty of cocaine around. It was the fashionable drug in the 80s. I know there's a lot of other stuff around now, but yeah, I've been lucky. There's always been that little voice in my head saying, be careful with drugs, be careful with alcohol. Be careful.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't there, you might not be still doing this,
Exactly.
It seems like at some point everyone's got to figure that line out. So,
alcohol is an interesting one, because culturally it's so revered almost around the world, and yet I worked in nightclubs when I was 18, 19 and 20, and it's in fact where I met Duran Duran's keyboard player. But I used to see what alcohol did to people at 3 a.m., the fights and the vomiting, etc. And I used to think, plus my dad was a bit of an alcoholic, and he became abusive, and that put me off alcohol as well. So I've never really had a great fascination with alcohol. I did have a glass of champagne last night. I'm not completely boring.
I listened to your rendition of A Horse with No Name. Can you kind of talk about the process in making that song and how much is it, I want to pay homage to the original sound, to I got to give it my spin on it?
Yeah. So I was nervous about, playing around with that song because I knew it was such a classic.
Oh yeah.
But the thing that happened was I found this jerky Jupiter 8, Roland Jupiter 8 sequencer. In the old days, it would have been a manual keyboard, but now it's all computers. And I had this beautiful, with an envelope on it. So an envelope is like this thing that opens and closes. So it's going, ooh, ooh, ah, 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 ooh, 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 but in a chord, in a musical chord. So I've got this coming towards me. When I found that, I was like, oh, this is nice. This is really atmospheric. And the music production kind of walked towards me as much as I was, looking for it. It could have very easily ended up being another half-finished idea on the shelf that any creatives have got, whether you're a writer or a screenwriter or a songwriter. I've seen interviews with Barry Gibb and George Michael where they talked about all these unfinished ideas on the shelf, and that's how it could have been with Horse with No Name, but it just kept fitting. The jigsaw puzzle pieces just kept fitting together, and then the vocal melody sits in a really nice area for me. When I sang it, it just felt nice. It just sat really nice in my instrument there. So, and then the video, OMG. So I found this guy. We talked about ideas for the video. I mean, that was the icing on the cake because it's obviously it's a crazy, interesting lyric. The song was written in the UK, by the way. Did you know that?
Did not.
Yeah, in a place called Puddletown in Dorset. Look it up. It's on the south coast. I think they're like America, are like half. Some of them are English, some of them are American. So Dewey Bunnell. I still, by the way, don't know what he thinks of he might hate it. I don't know. I've not heard anything.
Well, Limahl, first off, I want to thank you for giving us some time. 5 years ago when we interviewed you and put out the episode, we had such great response from your fans. Like, it was like really cool to see. And a lot of them were checking out the interview and just saying, we love this guy, follow this guy, can't wait for, have him on again. And, obviously here we are 5 years later. If
you haven't aged a day, by the way.
What'd you say?
You haven't aged a day.
Oh, yeah. Tell my wife that. If people want to check out what you already mentioned, the shows you got coming up this year, if people want to check out what's going on with you, where's the best place for them to go? And obviously you have the Christmas song still out there. You have the holidays coming up. But what else is coming up with you?
Well, that's it really. Just prepping for Christmas. I have a ton of interviews, always do in December for the track. I have to do that because I don't have the massive conglomerate doing it for me.
It's better this way.
Screw them. If it ever becomes a hit in the mainstream, let's say. Hit's a weird word now because I don't really know who watches the charts. I think people gauge success today by a different method. What are the streaming numbers? What are the social media numbers? If it ever becomes more in the mainstream, there's one guy in the UK, and he's had some success in the music business, and he's getting on a bit. But a friend of a friend who knew him sent him the track, and obviously hit his phone, his laptop on the wrong time or the wrong day. But he sent a WhatsApp message to my friend, and he said he was talking about what he did last night. Then he said, I got the Christmas song. It's not very memorable, is it? And, it was quite negative. So Harold Arlen, who wrote Somewhere Over the Rainbow, actually published a book about the journey of his song, its struggle of that song, which of course become this worldwide. So I hope one day, because believe me, there've been some amazing things, the struggles, the walls that you hit. That's the real challenge for me. So that's a massive one. Apart from that, it's keep up the maintenance. And stay alive and well. That 3 deaths, quite close deaths. My partner's mother died last December, and a friend. Oh gosh, and so quick, very scary. So Christmas is joyful and family. It's also poignant, isn't it, in those times? But there's a line in a film I love. It says, grab life by the balls, because you never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my motto.
Awesome.
Final question from me. Is there a difference between Christopher and Limahl? Is there any kind of situation like you're getting stressed out and you're like, hey, if you keep this up, Limahl is showing up and you don't want Limahl in your face?
Absolutely not. No. I kind of, if people say to me, sing me a bit of a song, if I'm down at the gym or something like that, or if I'm, in a bar or whatever, I'll say, he's off duty, sorry. That's what I say.
First off, what kind of psychopath asked you to sing at the gym?
I know.
These Pilates are great. Hey, you know that song you did?
Yeah.
It's a bit like going out to a comic and say, tell me a joke. Make me laugh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Worse.
But what was the question?
Is there a difference between Christopher and Limahl?
No, I really enjoy kind of going into Limahl mode. I enjoy the creative side and the planning side and the discussing like this, talking about music. I mean, I'm still love music. I'm still on ChatGPT trying to find out things about classic tracks that I love, or Wikipedia or whatever it is, which, by the way, I've donated to several times because I know they're all volunteers. And I use it almost every day.
Sure.
I'm still that crazy guy, intensely interested in how things come about, and their journey. It still fascinates me. But usually at home, there's no sign of Limahl. In fact, I think Steve does. He probably does more singing than me. And I have been known to shout, there's only one singer in this relationship.
Well, from us and to you and your fans, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thanks again for coming on the show. And we, of course, hope to have you on down the line again.
Okay. Lovely, guys. I enjoyed the chat. I'll always enjoy the chat about music. Is it too late to say Happy Thanksgiving?
Technically, but we'll take it.
Yeah, because the whole Thanksgiving thing, we don't have that in the UK. Is it a specific date? Is it like the first?
No. It's the 3rd Thursday in November.
It's that early.
Fourth Thursday.
Yeah.
So the last Thursday in November. So that's already happened. So so just have a great holiday, as you say.
There we go.
We don't call it a holiday either. Even in songs they talk about the holidays.
Yep.
Happy holiday, the song. But no, here it's simply Christmas.
Well, we can't please everybody over here.
No.
Thanks so much.
I love those quirky differences in our language, even though we're both English.
Yep.
I remember a friend was trying to book seats in the stalls. We call it the stalls, the front of, but he calls it the orchestra in the theatre. He said, no, a stall is something in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't call it a stall in the bathroom. We call it a cubicle.
I don't know.
Go
man.
figure.
That's
I
where
don't
we
know how
were.
it happened.
Now I'm really confused.
I'm happy to share that with you.
Thanks so much and have a great Christmas season. And we hope to talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Cheers, guys. Lovely. Lovely
Thanks
stuff.
so much. Mike Limahl for the second time. Let's see if his fans are as good to us as they were when we put the first episode out.
Yeah, we gotta definitely poke them and get into all the groups. And I mean, who do you think is more rampant, Fantwans, or does Limahl's fans even have a name?
The Lamalians.
Limahl's?
No, I don't know. The first time we put out an episode with him, we got a lot of love from England and people. Apparently, he's got a very rabid fan base himself. So he's a great guy, really great guy. Good.
Okay, I get your gist, and also you want me to kidnap both Antoine and Limahl, strap them into my basement, and then they'll be on every episode. Gotcha.
How did you get that from me saying that was a great conversation? You said, I get the gist. You want me to kidnap two pop stars.
I saw your eyes. You say you didn't tell it to me, but when I get to court, believe me, I will bring up. I would like to show the video and look at Scott's eyes.
Look at his eyes. He wanted me to kidnap them.
Those are them eyes that say, commit 2 felonies right in a row.
Yeah, I want you to kidnap 2 men that live in England somehow. Yes, Perlo, that's what I would like you to.
Yeah, I mean, how am I going to get him back on the plane? That's going to be the biggest. I don't have their passports because I got a gun to their backs, but if it'd be cool, let me in.
Well, people do say our podcast is a never-ending story. So thank you, Limahl. Like, what do you got,
Scott?
Oh,
it's
yes.
the first of the year. You know what time it is.
No, I don't.
Oh.
Time to announce this is the last show. Time to announce that
now you're making me ad-lib. I don't know what to do here.
Time to announce that there's a bar of soap made with your bathwater behind me.
Side note on that. So I think you were on the text I'm in where I'm like, okay, so for those who don't know, we did our gift exchange, and my joke gift to Scott was I made a bar of soap and I used my bathwater in it. And I sent it over to 2 of our other friends, Dom and Harry, figuring they're always on top of listening to every episode. And they're giving me no sign that they've listened to it yet.
Yep.
And also Harry specifically sent me a note saying thank you for the bar of soap. So there's a weird moment. I'm like, all right, do I still wait for them to listen to the last episode to get the gist of the joke? Do they know what the joke is? Am I going to have to feel bad because it's like, oh, my daughter really loves washing her hands with your soap? We're in a weird spot right now. Now, I'm not trying to be like a bad person, but at the same time, it's like, if you don't listen, that's not my fault.
I'm praying for that result. I'm praying for the whole family loves it. Can you send some more?
The family took a family bath with your soap. It was weird. It felt like there was another person in the bathtub with us.
It's weird. They keep messing up their English after doing the soap.
My daughter almost got killed running across the street because she saw a dog. I don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah, I'm not even comfortable with that thing behind me. But yeah, go listen to the last episode to hear the reveal of that disgusting bar of soap. But,
well, Scott, let's stop talking about my juices in your bars. So let's talk about what we do every first of the year. It's one of our favorite games that we like to call God Complex, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is our 9th year performing this. It's a little fun game that we do. So what we do is we pick up 32 popular names of celebrities, athletes, musicians that we sadly lost along the way. And I give Scott the task of deciding which celebrity would he bring back if he had the power to. Last year, Scott used his power to bring back Carl Weathers. So congratulations to Carl. Yep. Congratulations to him. Now unfortunately, we will have to kill him to allow us to bring back this year's celebrity. I mean, that's the worst part. We give him back life, and we're like, aha, and take it back from them.
Now, let me preface this to the audience. It's not always who you think is going to win. And I don't look at the brackets before. I don't really look too much about who died. A lot of times Mike reminds me on this show who died, but it really comes down to the matchups. And then sometimes a random stream of something about it will just make, like, Carl Weathers would not have been my pick last year going into it, but random people have won before.
Yeah, just to bring up an example, the year we lost Kobe Bryant and Chadwick Boseman, Scott forgot that Little Richard died that year. And every matchup Little Richard had, he's like, how can I not bring him forward? So that's kind of the gist of it. For those who are new to this competition, a couple items to note. Number one, Scott has the right to choose the person that he wants to advance for any reason. It could be a great interview for the cast. It could be a personal connection to their work. Yeah, he could just think it's damn funny to advance somebody forward. And we almost brought back Kimbo Slice in the first tournament. That was totally off the wall. He lost off to John Glenn, the astronaut, but I digress.
I'm going back. I think I'd rather Kimbo Slice be in the world than
that would be a good world.
Considering our interaction with the one astronaut we tried to interview, and he said he had to go to his grandson's baseball game and then tried to charge us $1,000.
That is true. Now, the celebrity we can bring back, Scott can use the right to say he wants to bring them back at a certain point of their life. So if you want an athlete at their peak playing time, a musician when they became a superstar, or just something as simple as I want to see Hot Lonnie Anderson on WKRP in Cincinnati, he has the right to do it. Now, the contrast to that is he cannot erase history for this. So, for example, if Scott wanted to bring back Hulk Hogan at the prime WrestleMania 3 age, see how he would interact with wrestling fans today, he's willing to do that, but we don't forget about his sex tapes, his racist comments, or anything of that sort. So, Scott,
I'm ready.
How excited are you?
I'm pretty excited. This always brings me a little bit of stress. Not for any particular reason, because they're not actually coming back. But did you ever think about doing the tournament with like the 32 people you killed during the year and maybe giving them one of their lives?
I mean, it's kind of like Stranger Things. My ending is my ending with them.
It's my art.
What happens, happens. They got to go. No. Now, as a bonus treat, I'm going to wait till the end to reveal this stuff. I filled out a bracket for the first time. Dom has filled out a bracket. And Harry has filled out a bracket.
Very nice.
I wanted to get more people, but we actually had a discussion where I was stressing out. I'm like, yo, this got to go to second week. I got to get more people. And Scott's like, no. First of the week is the God Complex game. No exceptions to the rule. So maybe as we go into next year, I can get some more people and get more compare and contrast on the situation. But we had 3 other people who filled out this bracket beforehand, Scott. But
okay.
It's time for yours. Are you ready, Scott?
I'm ready.
All right. Scotty, I'm going to start with the North bracket, if you will. Cosby Kid, Malcolm Jamal Warner versus NBA Hall of Fame coach, NBA Hall of Fame player, Lenny Wilkens.
This one's not jumping off, like the first matchup's not jumping off the page to me. Like usually I get a real gut punch of like, okay, I know exactly who I want. I have no real connection to either. Now, did I watch Cosby Show a little bit growing up? Sure, but it wasn't like my main show. And Lenny Wilkens, I mean, Hall of Fame coach. I think I'm going to start off pretty simple here with simplistic reasoning, and that is the age factor here. Okay. Lenny Wilkens, I'm not sure how old he was when he passed, but he seemed much older than Malcolm Jamal Warner. So for that reason, I think maybe he had some more life to live. Died pretty young, I believe. He couldn't. What was it? Maybe 50?
I think about 50.
Yeah, that's dying young these days. So I'm going to choose him. I'm going to bring him back in this matchup. Sorry, Lenny. I just no strong connection to you.
Mm-hmm. This one will be an interesting one. I feel I know where you're going to go with this matchup, but I think some people would struggle with this one. Wrestling legend Hulk Hogan versus Beach Boys Brian Wilson.
Well, interestingly enough, both of these obviously have an effect on my childhood in some way. Now, people are gonna be like, "You're old enough for the Beach Boys when you're little." No, I was old enough for my father listening to the Beach Boys constantly. So around the holidays, that Beach Boys Christmas album was on constantly. I had a fascination kind of with Brian Wilson in the last, I don't know, 5 years. Whenever that movie kind of Love and Mercy, I saw him live twice, Brian Wilson. I saw him last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. It was very sad. Hulk Hogan, though, what boy in the 80s and 90s didn't have some connection to Hulk Hogan? I had a Hulk Hogan Hasbro figure in my car when I got my first car. I kind of had him propped up on the dashboard. Hulk kind of strayed a little bit though in his later life. Hulk turned out to kind of be a big pile of shit.
Kind of true.
A little bit of racist, a little bit weird. If you're not a big Trump guy, Hulk was definitely not your favorite guy. He was big into that. Different things, not telling his daughter she's not allowed to date black guys and being caught in sex video. A lot of scandal around the Hulkster towards the end of his life. I was a little surprised by his death this year, though. I remember hearing him on, like, I don't know, maybe he was on Rogan a year or two ago. I thought he was pretty healthy. And I thought he was one of those guys, one of the few wrestlers that actually makes it into his older life. But
I mean, he was 70 something, so
yeah, in wrestling years, that's like 130.
Exactly.
So like impact wise, Hogan will always have like a little. Who doesn't love Hulkamania? But Brian Wilson fascinates me. I think he got a lot of his life taken away from him. If you read the history of him, so I'm going to choose Brian Wilson over Hulk Hogan in this matchup. Big matchup on that one.
That was a big matchup. Next, we have she has her own foundation. She lived and talked to chimpanzees, Jane Goodall, versus a great actor, Batman, Top Gun, name a few, Val Kilmer.
And until you just said that, I forgot Val Kilmer died. Val Kilmer, I have nothing bad to say about Val Kilmer. Good movies. I'm not sitting here saying he was my favorite actor or that I followed his career, but definitely some good movies along the way. But I always did have a little fascination with Jane Goodall. I once tried to see if there was a way to get her on the show. And if you remember, years and years ago, we had someone from the Jane Goodall Foundation on the show. And it was actually like, that was my way of trying to get us in to possibly be put in for an interview or something. Obviously, it never happened. Jane Goodall, a big environmentalist. I felt like she was kind of cool because she kind of stuck to her cause like her entire life. You didn't see Jane Goodall like suddenly have a cooking show or Jane Goodall like, I don't know, when they shift their roles and they just become a celebrity. She seemed to be pretty committed to her cause, environmental work, to work with chimpanzees. I'm going to take Jane Goodall in this one.
And did you see her last words on Netflix, by the way? That's a good thing. If you're not aware, so Netflix actually interviewed, they won't say the names, but they interviewed like 8 celebrities who are like high 80s, 90s. They won't reveal the names. But when they passed away, 2 days later, they announced the special blah blah's final words, and they have an interview where it's just one person in the room with the celebrity. They have no camera people. They have like special technologies, just like following or whatever, and they do a full interview.
Cool.
And then after that, the host goes, "I'm going to walk out of the room. Nobody's here. Nobody's going to listen to it. Speak your final words and give like a paragraph to say goodbye." And I highly recommend checking it
Yeah,
out.
I will check it. I always thought Jane Goodall would have been good help for us because she would have helped me understand you a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it would teach you how to speak.
Yeah, you're antagonizing Burlew. You got to stop doing that. I just don't understand him. It takes a few years and all.
She'd
You've
be like,
only been with him for 12.
She'd be like, I worked with chimps all over the world. I can't. This is way harder. All right, Jane,
All right.
you're in.
All right. Next up, fashion guru Giorgio Armani versus Norm from Cheers, George Wendt.
This is an easy one for me. I have zero, as you could tell by looking at me, I have zero interest in the fashion world. I am wearing a hat that is covered in dirt, a shirt that has a hole in the armpit. I never understood high fashion, like spending $1 bazillion for a bag and whatnot. If it's your thing, it's your thing. But I mean, I would love to talk to Norm from Cheers. I mean, what a great interview that would be. I felt like not only that, he did Toy Story and things like that. I would 100% choose Norm.
Okay. Was he in Toy Story?
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the other guy.
Yeah.
Who did the voice of the pig?
The mailman.
Oh, the mailman. Yeah. Sorry. I mixed them up. But
John Ratzenberger. Yeah, that's his real name.
Norm would still win this, regardless of his Toy Story role that I made.
Oh, he's not a Toy Story. Screw him.
Damn it, Armani, come on down.
All right. We got the North bracket done and some good matchups right there.
All right.
Now we're going to move down to the South. Great actor, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, The Natural, the MCU universe he was in, The Sting. We got Robert Redford against game show legend who I tried to get on to the show, Wink Martindale.
I feel like this is an easy one for me too. Wink Martindale, I don't know much about him. I heard the name, then I knew the Giants had the defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale. But he's not really had no real impact on my life. Robert Redford, on the other hand, not that I'm sitting here like saying I'm the Robert Redford fan club, but he had a lot of stuff we could talk about. It was cool that he kept going. He was still making things to the end. If I'm just breaking this down by simply talking to people, Robert Redford all the way for me.
Yeah. And I guess before we continue, if some people are wondering, wow, these are some weird matchups, just a preference. In the past, we used to break it up into brackets like actor, sports, music, and then etc. One year, we accidentally recorded and lost the tournament. So we were like, how on earth can we redo it? And we just said, you know what? Randomize it. And when we did the second time, it was way more interesting.
Yeah.
Got a different winner. Hence, that's why I just figure out which 32 I want to use and just put in a randomizer to start these matchups off. So
I prefer it this way too, because then it's, then you're choosing between different categories too. Like, it's not just sports. It's not just, so I prefer this way also.
Okay. All right. Next on the list, we got former heavyweight champion, grill maker, been in some television shows, named all his kids after him, the one and only George Foreman. And he is going up against actor. Let me see what we're going to. Sorry about that. He was in Superman. He was in a bunch of movies. We are talking about Gene Hackman, Hoosiers, Bonnie and Clyde, Crimson Tide.
Yeah. Tough matchup here. George Foreman, I think I would like to bring back George a couple years, maybe a decade or two before he died, when he was a lot more with it. All these boxers take a lot of hits to the head. I mean, once you start naming all your kids George, I think CTE is very prevalent, but he always seemed like kind of a fun guy. Also, I think because he was so goofy with the grills and stuff, I think people forget what a monster he was in the ring.
Man.
I think people forget that he was like a destroyer in the ring. And
Yeah,
like,
what was he, like 44 or 45 when he got the title back and all? It all took was one good jab.
Yeah. Now, Gene Hackman, this is what fascinates me. Gene Hackman, obviously a fantastic actor, but what fascinates me, I want to know what happened with his death. Like, his death is very kind of mysterious. We never really got a full reason. Like, his very sad, him, his wife, and the dogs, I believe, were all dead.
One of the dogs was dead. Yeah, of the three. Now, keep in mind, if that's you're thinking advancing him, you are getting Gene Hackman at his last days where his brain is not there. We're not getting the great kind of conversations about his acting career if you do that.
Of course, you know how many of the dogs died, but you have no idea how Gene Hackman died.
No, I only remember the important things. Honey, Robert Redford's dog is dead.
This is a tough one. I would say out of the matchup so far, this is the toughest one. Again, this is a matchup where I don't have any direct connection to either of these guys. I think Gene Hackman was a phenomenal actor. I think for conversation purposes, I'm going to take George Foreman, but I'm taking him a couple decades ago before he kind of lost. I want prime, like, beat the shit out of people, George Foreman.
Excellent. All right. We got him down there. All right. Next up, we have a Nickelodeon star. She was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She was in Euro Trip. Michelle Trachtenberger versus a legend in Hollywood. We're talking about The Princess Bride, All in the Family, This is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, Rob Reiner.
Yeah. I just had this conversation the other day. It's funny that Gene Hackman and Rob Reiner are in the same bracket here. Both very mysterious deaths. Gene Hackman one is weird to me because I don't think we ever got a total, like, what happened. Did they just die of old age and was it carbon monoxide? Like, what? I don't know what it is. And then Rob Reiner, horrific death, slayed by your son. I mean, it's pretty much as terrible as it can get. Pretty much hoping that doesn't happen to me. And then as far as Michelle, I mean, she died very young, which is pretty tragic.
Think about 40.
Yeah, pretty young. But in this case, just because what's ironic is the night before Rob Reiner died, I was watching Wolf of Wall Street. It's one of those movies that I always just pop on, watch a couple scenes. It's typical Scorsese, like, you throw it on. There's just great scene. And I forgot Rob Reiner was even in that as the dad. And he'd made a lot of great movies. I got to take the body of work here. I'm going to bring Rob Reiner back. And he didn't deserve that death, so I'm giving him a little, a
little talking to with his son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bring him back the day before. No, now listen, we're going to interview you, but I just want to give you a heads up.
No, I'll take Rob.
Yeah, do not go to that Conan O'Brien Christmas party, okay? All right, final matchup of the round. Music legend. Reality TV legend, Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, God, yeah.
Against a Tarantino favorite, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen, yeah. Now this is interesting to me because Michael Madsen I kind of always believed that he was as crazy as the characters he played. I don't think he seemed particularly nice or warm and inviting outside of unless I just never saw interviews with him, but he seemed like he played a psychopath very well. And I feel like I deal with a psychopath weekly for the last 13 years. I'm not sure bringing another one on would be the key.
Yeah. Yeah, your wife is like, Burlew and Michael Madsen is at the front door. Should I leave?
But on the other hand, Ozzy, I feel this is going to be tough because Ozzy lived what I consider a 100% full life, a storybook ending to the man's life. Has this last concert with Black Sabbath. I watched clips and clips and clips of it. I thought it was fascinating. He dies 2 weeks later after doing that, lived this really full life. Now, do I bring him back and that story kind of gets ruined? Like,
are you saying we're not the storybook ending our interview?
But Michael Madsen would be fascinating but I'm gonna have to risk it. I think I'm gonna bring my Ozzy back. I'll bring Ozzy. I mean, there's just too much on the bone to talk to Ozzy about. Now, this is interesting. When do I bring Ozzy back? Because he's been crazy forever and hard to understand. But I have a lot of experience talking to crazy person who's hard to understand. So,
Dom,
I'll go Ozzy. But I do fear bringing him back to ruin his storybook ending.
Okay, Scott. All right, good stuff here. We got 2 of the sets down. We're going to move over to the East. Another rock legend, Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley, versus the game developer for such things as Call of Duty and some of the other major video outlets, Vince Zampella.
Those of you who've listened to the cast for a long time know that I hate Kiss. I think Kiss is the most overrated rock band of all time. Like, to me, it's not really even close. They got 1 or 2 things I'll sing along to. But Ace Frehley, he kind of was, to me, a standout in that band because he did have some solo stuff. And he did make Back in the New York Groove, which is a fantastic song. It also reminds me of like Giants football, like when they were good. They play that all the time. When they're bad, it doesn't have the same effect. And I'm not a big video game guy. I try from time to time. I try to come back to video games. They just never stick. I'll buy FIFA like every 5 years. I don't even know where my gaming system is at the moment. Maybe I'll get back into them when my son gets into games or something. So in this matchup, I got to bring back Ace Frehley, but no real personal connection to either.
Okay, former Vice President Dick Cheney versus the mother and Lassie June Lockhart.
I can't bring Dick Cheney back. Screw that guy. He was. He's just an evil piece of crap. Like, I don't know. The only thing I would want to ask him be like, how accurate was Christian Bale playing you in whatever, I forget the name of the movie, Vice or something like that?
Yeah. That'd be great if you brought him back for that one question. It's like, all right,
we're done with you.
Get out here. Yeah.
I mean, arguably ran the president during the W years, put us into war with Iraq, like all the Halliburton stuff. I mean, everything about this guy said he was a colossal piece of garbage. Maybe there's a side to him. It would be cool to talk to a vice president, but I don't know. Give me the mother from Lassie. We'll talk about the dog.
It's kind of weird how in the recent years, like with his daughter getting caught up with getting pushed out by the Republican Party, everybody's like, oh, Dick Cheney's the greatest. It's like, could have sworn I remember not so great times with him, but okay.
Yeah. No, everything I ever heard about him or read about him seemed like a colossal piece of shit that got us into foreign affairs for his own personal gain. So absolutely not. Cheney can stay in the grave.
Okay. From the Food Network and the world's worst cooks, we have Ann Burrell versus Apollo 13 astronaut. Houston, we have a problem. Jim Lavelle.
Astronaut hits the tournament here against Ann Burrell, known for her like wild hair, her big spiky blonde hair. This is a tough one because astronaut, obviously, talking to someone has come up several times in this tournament about talking to someone who's been to space has been kind of a goal on the show to get one of these people on the cast for a while. And I think that'd be pretty cool to talk to her too, as far as all the stuff she did. But I guess give me the astronaut. We're gonna go another astronaut. Try to work our way.
One of these days, it's gonna work out for us.
One of these days, an astronaut. But whether you got to bring him back from the dead, that might be the only way.
All right, actress and sex symbol Lonnie Anderson versus NFL Hall of Famer and Wrestling Hall of Famer Steve Mongo McMichael.
Okay. Mongo McMichael, I remember a little bit of him in wrestling. I think he was with like Ric Flair and those guys.
Yeah, he was in WCW. He was a part of the Four Horsemen for a little bit.
Yeah, I remember a little bit of him.
His wife left him for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, wow. Upgrade.
Well, he slapped her around, so it wasn't a perfect ending.
Mongo slapped her around?
No, Austin.
Steve Austin slapped her around?
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. He avoided that, huh? People don't care about that.
One of my wife's friends keeps bringing it up. We're always like, oh, yeah. But when the glass hits, it's like, oh!
I also love that you guys keep bringing up Steve Austin beating women like it's a constant conversation.
No. I mean, like, he'll come back and like me and my buddy like, this is so cool. He's still awesome. And then she's like, he hit his wife. Oh yeah. Yeah, stunner.
No connection to Mongo. Give me Lonnie. I'll bring her back in her prime too. So we can talk to a hot chick on the podcast here.
That's the way we like our women on the show.
Can't wait
None of brains things.
Lonnie versus Lassie's mom.
All right. Final bracket here, Scott. How are we feeling so far?
I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling this year more than many, not too many like deep connections to certain people yet. Like in the past, there's been a lot of musicians that meant a lot to me. A couple sports stars along the way. So far, I'm feeling like I'm okay with a lot of my decisions because I'm not feeling devastated that one's gone yet. But we'll see.
All right. Portugal soccer player, Liverpool player, Diego Jota versus Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson.
This is very easy for me. Diego Jota.
Right, Phil is going on. Gotcha.
Diego Jota, I watched every week. Died absolutely tragically. Him and his brother. It reminded me exactly of the
Johnny
Gaudreau story with his brother, and it was like on his sister's wedding day or wedding weekend or something.
Exactly. Yep.
Just as seeing the outpour. I mean, this guy was a very high level player. He played for my team. I've been trying to get a Liverpool player on here for a long time. It's very hard. Died tragically, I believe 28 or 26. I don't know, something very young. Give me Diego all the way. Duck Dynasty. I mean, he lived a long life. He was successful as an old man. I'm not sad.
Yep. Beard was pretty tall. Yep.
Yeah. Give me Diego.
All right. Political person known as Charlie Kirk versus rock and roll hoochie coo, and also the creator of the "I'm a Real American" song, Rick Derringer.
All right. Now, Rick Derringer. Now, these are two guys, once again, in the matchup, no real personal connection here. Charlie Kirk, obviously very controversial figure. I am not on the right, nor am I on the left. I see some of the very divisive things he peddled along the way, but I did see that he encouraged free speech and did challenge people to state their opinions. Whether he mocked them or not, that's a whole different thing, but it was an avenue for some debate, which was not super toxic like it is everywhere else. And I'm just going to go down. I'm going to bring Charlie Kirk back for the sole reason that the man was assassinated in cold blood. And regardless of my personal opinions or anybody's opinions on him, I don't think anybody deserves to die in that way. So I'm going to bring Charlie Kirk back for this one.
Okay. This is an interesting matchup here. Baseball announcer, Mr. Belvedere, Major League, Miller Lite commercials, Bob Uecker versus Pope Francis.
The Pope versus Bob Uecker in a huge matchup here. Now, we have talked a little bit about the Pope's life. That would be very interesting to find out what happened behind the walls of Vatican City. How do I turn down getting a Pope on the podcast. Because there's only one active one. They're either dead,
Yeah.
or the current pope. It's not
It's
like
Highlander. There can be only one.
Yeah, there's not a chain of popes that we could reach out to and be like, "Hey, you want to talk about your former pope days?" But Bob Uecker was goddamn hilarious.
We want to talk to you about your pope career.
Yeah, but Bob Uecker was unbelievably funny. He represented a certain era in baseball, I think, too. Like, I believe he did some comedy too. He was in some comedy movies.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that clip of the Flyers announcer. So one of the announcers, I think it was the Flyers announcer, got suspended recently because he was on there. It reminded me of something Bob Uecker would say in a movie. So in a massive upset, I'm bringing back Bob Uecker over the Pope.
Awesome. One last one for this round, Scotty. We have Twin Peaks, David Lynch versus actress Diane Keaton.
Similar worlds. David Lynch. Now, I never really watched Twin Peaks. I know people absolutely love it.
He also did Eraserhead.
Yeah. David Lynch or
Diane Keaton did The Godfather, Annie Hall, Father of the Bride.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about like being able to talk to someone from being on the Godfather cast and like recalling what that was like, I think I got to take Diane Keaton here. Again, in a matchup that's not pulling at my heartstrings one way or the other, I think I'm just going to go more of stuff I've seen, which is stuff from Diane Keaton over stuff from David Lynch. So upset there, I guess, too. I'm not sure.
All right. So we're down to 16 right now. We're in the second round, Scott. Do you have an idea who you think you're going to have as the winner, out of curiosity in your brain?
I have about 3 people in my head that I could lean towards, but
Gotcha.
I'm not sold on any of them. So it's going to really depend on matchups here.
All right. So the big matchup here is Malcolm Jamal Warner versus Brian Wilson.
Yeah, this is an easy one for me. As I explained, before Brian Wilson died, we were inches away from getting a Beach Boy on the podcast, and Brian Wilson died. And he took a break he did a lot of media on Brian's death, and I was really excited about it. In fact, I don't think it's out of the cards. It might come back. Malcolm Jamal Warner, like, I think he only really got through in the first round because of his age of death. Brian Wilson, I'm fascinating life. It's just too easy for me. Brian Wilson on this one.
Jane Goodall versus George Wendt.
I gotta go Jane Goodall here. Too fascinating. So much to talk about. Really respected the woman. So Jane Goodall for me, over Norm there, even though that's, I would love for both of them to be back, but that might be the hardest bracket. What is that? The North?
That's the North.
North is tough. North is tough.
Okay. Robert Redford versus George Foreman.
Oof. Tough one. That's a tough one.
See, I think the South you're going to see is the toughest one.
Robert Redford, so much to talk about. Okay, so many movies, so many big iconic projects. George Foreman, so much to talk about. Iconic fights, iconic career post-fight. I think where I lean, because we've talked to a lot of actors. We talked to a boxer,
One boxer?
Two. I don't know, maybe one. Talk a couple UFC fighters, but someone the level of George Foreman, where like the whole world watched his fights, and I'm going to take George Foreman here over Robert Redford.
Rob Reiner versus Ozzy Osbourne.
Woof. Rob Reiner versus Ozzy Osbourne. Now this is an interesting. This is resting on my laurels here because I almost didn't bring Ozzy forward because of his complete life.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Reiner, horrendous ending to his life. Now, so this is a bit of a paradox here. Do I bring Ozzy through because I'd like to talk to Ozzy more, but Rob Reiner, I'm almost saving him from the tragedy of his son killing him.
Yeah, until we have to get rid of him next year. For the next year. Always remember that.
I mean, if Rob Reiner's son gets the death penalty, he might be on this list next year. Gut instinct, I'm bringing Ozzy Osbourne back. Too much to talk about between music, TV, and just the personality. Rob Reiner, I don't know if he was and he seemed very political. I'm not really into that much. So I guess Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay. Ace Frehley versus June Lockhart.
Ace Frehley versus Lassie's mom. You had to do other stuff, right?
I'm sure. I'm sure if I brought other stuff, you're like, yeah, Lassie's mom.
Again, surprising for me, not a Kiss fan at all, but how much can I pull from the Lassie story? Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking to an audience now that might not even remember Lassie anymore. And the
Are you saying Kiss born in 2000 didn't watch the 1940s classic Lassie?
And to grow the show, I'm not sure the Lassie audience is the one we really want to be picking at.
The Lassie ladies are just going through the roof, Scott.
I guess Ace Frehley's got to go through.
All right.
I mean, as much as I hate Kiss, there's a million things to talk to them about. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Jim Lavelle versus Lonnie Anderson.
Jim Lavelle versus Lonnie Anderson. Who's Jim Lavelle again?
Apollo 13 astronaut.
Yeah, the astronaut. Yep. Okay, so here we are, astronaut versus hot chick, basically, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Do I keep the dream of trying to get an astronaut on the show? Or do I just go with a little bit of DNA?
I mean, I guess technically we had an aspiring astronaut, and for 5 minutes we had a guy who was on the moon.
You know what? I'm going to take the eye candy on this one. Give me Lonnie. Goodbye, astronaut.
I'm sorry.
The bracket's filled with a lot of ugly old dudes. We got to get some...
Yeah, you gotta get some eye candy to stay to the end.
Listen, I love Jane Goodall, but I don't know, you're not my type.
All right, Diego Jota versus Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, this is pretty easy for me. Diego Jota, just tragic, and well, then again, Charlie Kirk too, but. Charlie's, I'm not necessarily a fan of Charlie Kirk. I'm very sad that someone's murdered in cold blood in this country, and we're divided over that. That's a whole other issue. But I got a personal connection to Liverpool. Watched him every week. It's tragic. So give me Diego over Charlie Kirk.
Bob Uecker versus Diane Keaton.
I think this is an easy one for me. Big Bob's going through. Diane... Again, how can you not respect Diane Keaton? Did a million things, but Bob Uecker, something about that personality. I think if we got him on the podcast, could be like an all-time episode. Like fantastic. Bob Uecker was phenomenal. Like let's bring Bob back.
All right, now we're getting to your final four. We got 8 here, Scott. Are you bringing back Beach Boys Brian Wilson or Jane Goodall?
I knew that matchup was coming as I was going through it, and this is very tough. 2 completely opposite worlds, right? One who, we did bring on a guest this year that helped record Pet Sounds and re-release it. So we're like, as you say, horse adjacent. We're like Beach Boys adjacent lately. We're almost got one of the Beach Boys on, Al Jardine, and we had someone who worked with Brian, but it's not Brian himself. It's not Brian. Now, I don't know how good of an interview Brian would be, especially in like the mental state he was. But so I would, if I'm going to bring him back, I'm going to bring him back like in his genius years, like when he was creating these timeless songs. And now Jane Goodall, like endless amounts of things we can talk to her about. I'm going to have to go with Brian Wilson on this one. This one kills me a little bit because Jane Goodall was always like someone I thought there'd be a chance, like through her foundation or something, to possibly talk to, but there was no chance to ever talk to Brian Wilson. So I'm going to go with that fact.
George Foreman versus Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, George Foreman versus Ozzy Osbourne. I feel like both of them lived pretty long lives, right? For George Foreman, for a boxer, lived a pretty long life. Ozzy, for a drug addict, rock star, lived a pretty long life. Perfect ending.
They literally took his DNA to see if they could figure out how he survived that long. That is a fact.
This is as hard as Brian Wilson, Jane Goodall, this matchup. I think kind of in an upset, because I'm going to go with what I've been talking about on how I almost wasn't going to let Ozzy through because of his perfect ending. I don't want to mess with Ozzy's perfect ending. I'm going to send George Foreman through because I feel like there's some meat on the bone to talk to George. I don't know enough about George. I feel like I know a lot about Ozzy because he was such in the public eye his entire life. So let's go with George Foreman knocking out Ozzy Osbourne, no pun intended.
Probably the matchup you didn't think you would see this late, Scott. Ace Frehley versus Lonnie Anderson.
Well, do I send Hotness through to the semifinals? Now, we've had people, a lot of bands on here that I'm not personally into, but I love interviewing because they have personal stories. I feel like there's more meat on the bone with Ace Frehley to talk to, and a lot of interesting stories. I gotta get rid of the lookers and let Ace Frehley go through to the next round. I'm sorry, Lonnie.
Diego Jota versus Bob Uecker.
I also just realized I killed all the women in the tournament. There's only dudes left.
I'm trying to think, did we ever end up with a woman? I don't think we ever did.
Let's keep it that way. Am I right?
Superior gender wins again.
Take that, Aisha Ash. That's a real deep callback. We won't even
explain another time. We're late on this one, like people.
I'm going Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker. There's something about that man that I feel like would be unbelievable to talk to. There's just so much there to talk about as far as his career in baseball, his personality. He was beloved. Give me Bob Uecker.
Okay, Scott, as we are in our final four, I'm just going to look over some of our other picks. So you have currently right now your two matchups as you can think about it. It's Brian Wilson versus George Foreman and Ace Frehley versus Bob Uecker. As I look over, I check with Harry's bracket. Mm-hmm. He has one similar to you.
Okay.
As I look over to my bracket, we have one similar.
Okay.
As I go over to Dom's.
Dom's is easy to figure out. He's going to pick anyone who's Italian.
Absolutely nothing in common with you.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. So
now, I always like to ask you kind of at this point of the tournament, like any surprises for you from me that you thought were shoo-ins that got eliminated or.
Well, I mean, when the whole Rob Reiner thing occurred, I thought it was almost a guarantee that he'd get there. I mean, tragic ending. And like we could spend, if we're just doing it on a podcast scenario, we could probably spend a half an hour on just one movie of
sure.
his, one TV show he's been on, and not even scratch the surface and bring him back 4, 5, 6 times. So it's a little surprising right there. Diego went as far as he did. I thought you were going to go super joke and just keep bringing Lonnie Anderson forward sometimes, but totally understandable.
Diego was a tough one, but I felt like Bob Uecker, there's more to talk about and Diego is more the tragedy. So I'm going with the more interesting, probably personality there.
Yeah, but let's stop stalling here, Scott. Brian Wilson or George Foreman?
I'm gonna have to go with my gut here. I got to bring Brian Wilson back. I think for me personally, it would come down to like one of those all-timer guests of the show, or even just a conversation with the guy. So much is because of him. They could start from his battle with the Beatles to all the way to being taken over by an agent, and I just feel like if I got a Brian Wilson that was with it, I think there might not be anybody better to talk to there. So I'm going to take Brian Wilson over George Foreman.
Ace Frehley or Bob Uecker?
All right, this is where Ace's time comes to an end. I'm putting Bob Uecker into those finals. Personality is just too good.
Yeah. He was that 11 seed. You're like, yeah, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's Duke. No,
Yep.
that's Duke. All right, Scotty. For the title, are we bringing back Beach Boy Brian Wilson or baseball legend Bob Uecker?
So here's the dilemma, okay? Gut's telling me Brian Wilson because of how much I've been to him, been interested in him, just a figure that I find. But Brian's personality in interviews was very kind of aloof, kind of quiet. He was a very shy man, believe it or not, even though he wrote it. He stayed home to write those albums while the band went off and toured because he was panicky about performing and traveling and stuff like that. Whereas Bob Uecker, I don't think that man was shy about anything. He seemed hysterical and interesting. So that is my dilemma here. Do I push through the person that I am interested in the most, or do I put in the person that I think might make a better conversation or a better? So I think I have my decision, and I think in an upset for myself, I think I'm going to put Bob Uecker into the Hall of Fame here of our God complex survivors. I cannot believe I just killed Brian Wilson again, but I just feel like if we got Bob Uecker on the podcast or got to go have a beer with Bob Uecker, I feel like it's one of those nights of your life where you're like, that's the greatest story ever. I mean, I heard stories of Bob Uecker, like pulling pranks on people and stuff like that. I feel like conversationally, Bob Uecker would be the better pick and Brian would be the more iconic pick. So I'm going to go with Bob Uecker, final decision.
Yep. Scott, it's been an amazing fun tournament. To give you an idea, as I said, you had one the same with me and Harry in the Final Four. It was Bob Uecker in both of ours, and I picked Bob Uecker.
All right.
I went the same route.
Okay.
And I was laughing my butt off about, like, how am I picking this guy over the Pope?
Yeah.
Like, every time I went to another round, I kept saying to myself, the amount of stories, the amount of personality, and he came in right in my youth when I was a sports fan. I mean, I could talk to him for an hour just on his Miller Lite commercials. They were so iconic to me, let alone the movies, the broadcasting, having to deal with Howard Cosell and those kind of items. That was my pick. And I was shocked that I kept on bringing him, and I kept on saying, I'm sure I'm going to knock him off with like Rob Reiner or Ozzy, but he survived. He went through the whole tournament.
Sometimes it's the matchup, man. But think about it, like even through that tournament, Brian Wilson, I'm sure you thought was probably someone I would put there, and he did get far. But different matchups, like if it was Uecker Wilson round one, I probably would have picked Bob Uecker for that same reason, and he would have went on. But yeah, I'll take Bob. Who was your final four, by the way?
My final four was Jane Goodall versus Rob Reiner, and Steve Mongo McMichael versus Bob Uecker.
Wow. Okay. Give me Harry's final four.
Harry's final four. His was Malcolm Jamal Warner versus Rob Reiner,
Wow.
Steve Mongo McMichael versus Bob Uecker.
Okay, and who do you have winning it all?
He had Malcolm Jamal Warner
Really
winning it all, and I told him, like, explain some of these things, and he said Warner went out. Although Mongo has been dealing with his ALS, he was on the evening menu of times, so I chose Warner based on how much he could contribute. Mongo would probably be a great constant podcast guest and TV personality, but not enough to get him the nod.
So yeah, he kind of went with the reason Warner. I went with Warner the first round, the youth.
Yep.
You know, he died early, so I get that. Okay.
Before I reveal Dom's, I will inform you that his winner you knocked out in the first round.
Did I knock
any
the Pope?
ideas?
Is it
You
the
think?
I'm thinking Dom. He's Italian. He went with the Pope.
He did not go with the Pope.
Okay.
Here's his final four. Malcolm Jamal Warner versus Michelle Trachtenberg. Ann Burrell versus David Lynch.
Wow. I'm going to guess Dom went with David Lynch then. He's a real film guy.
Scott, the person who would have survived if we gave Dom the God complex is Michelle Trachtenberg.
That's right. Dom was one of those weird Buffy the Vampire Slayer weirdos.
Yep. That's what
I remember that now.
When he sent it over to me, I literally texted him 2 minutes later. I'm like, all right, you got to explain this to me. And let me bring up his official answer.
I remember in high school, Dom was really into Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This makes sense now. Okay.
Yeah. Every year he's going to bring back that girl from Love Actually if she ever passes away. Michelle Trachtenberg got bought back because she didn't even make it to the 40, though no fault of her own. She also gets remembered for her work as a kid, but she was a really talented actor. She was also on Buffy, which is my favorite hour-long TV series of all time.
Yeah. I think this just comes down to Dom's a horn dog. He just that's what it really is.
Yeah. Yeah, like we keep eliminating women, he just keeps bringing them back. And
well,
I should just make a bracket of like, all right, Dom, there's 32 women. The winner you bang. And we'll have a 2.5 hour episode of him debating every single matchup along the way.
But yeah, okay. Bob Uecker, not who I expected. In fact, you reminded me that he was dead in the tournament. I didn't have him in my head going into the tournament. So another surprise, probably not as surprising as Carl Weathers. I still want to go back and listen to that, like how he actually made his way in. But Bob Uecker, I'll take it. I'm not upset.
If I recall, it was mainly like all the Predator movies and Rocky movies where you're like, I cannot ignore this gentleman. How he
can't
kept
kill
on
Apollo. He's beautiful.
Exactly.
He's beautiful.
He's got to be killed by the Russian.
Yeah. Well, our first episode of the year was a fun one. Mike, anything to promote before we get out of here?
I'm just going to promote. We're going to have some announcements. We've joined like 3 or 4 new internet radio stations coming up. I don't have the list fully in front of me. I'm going to, since we're having our debut episode a little later in the month, I'll get into that going forward. But if you're just joining us for the first time, check out our catalog, ladies and gentlemen. We have a plethora of different guests, different contests, crazy conversations. Believe me, if you're like, oh, this is a nice person, Michael Birdley, wait till you hear some of the stuff in the past that's getting brought up. And if you're still confused, ask Scott and he'll inform you about it. But check out our catalog on verbalshenanigans.podbean.com and look forward to another year of doing this.
Another year. First, I want to thank Limahl for coming on. Always a great conversation. I'm going to quickly promote Friends Record Store and sponsor of the cast, Harry's Record Store in Belmar, New Jersey. He's a childhood friend of mine. I was able to stop down there the other day. I took my kids to the aquarium down there and made sure to pop in. And he's just starting up. He's getting records from all different genres. Hopefully going to work with him, maybe do some comedy down there, possibly do a live podcast at some point down there in the future. And it's a cool little record store. Him and his wife. I went in there. They're both in there, and both their kids were helping them sort records out and put things on the shelf. So it's a real family business. Go check out Harry's Record Shop in Belmar, New Jersey. Other than that, guys, keep subscribing. Like Mike said, check out our back catalog. I'm happy to be back for another year. Happy, healthy, motivated. So looking forward to putting out some great content this year. Guys, life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back.
And now a moment of silence for the people we didn't bring back. A minute to think about how hot Lonnie Anderson was.
Sorry, Lonnie. You know Dom had a problem with that.
Yeah, true.